Welcome back, folks. Sheepdog Smokey here, and I'm seeing a lot of stuff about the Stafford Act. And as always, things are getting blown out of proportion. Uh, it's not as much or as bad or as big as everyone is making it out to be, but it's not a tiny little thing either. Before we begin, please remember to subscribe, turn on notifications so you're part of the channel and eligible for the giveaway. So, that said, let's go on and jump right in. I do want to apologize for my sniffling and such because allergies are what they are. This is the season for them in Texas. And I know it can get annoying and be weird to hear and look at, but unfortunately I don't have a way to stop it. What is going around the internet is a Facebook post right now saying that President Trump is planning to put the country on a 2-week lockdown, militarily enforced, to respond to COVID-19. And the Stafford Act does not give him the power to do that. Governors could do it. I was asked earlier when I said it won't happen, why it won't happen, because California's already doing it. I disagree with Newsom's decision to basically tell his people, you can't leave your home. It's wrong. I understand that we need social distancing right now because until we have an effective treatment and vaccine and so on to mitigate 95+% of what's going on, we can't build herd immunity. You see, we have herd immunity to the flu or to other things, but we also have items in place to deal with cases of those things. We don't have that yet for COVID-19. There are items in the works, there are treatments in the works, there are things being tested. I saw a report earlier today where someone who is recovering from COVID-19 credited a medicine developed for Ebola. So that is what the Stafford Act does. It allows the FDA, the CDC, and FEMA more latitude, more leeway when responding to something like this. Without the invocation of the Stafford Act and certain provisions under it, FEMA would have more hoops to jump through. The CDC could not do what they're doing. The FDA could not test treatments and other things as fast as they are. They're not skimping on testing. What they're doing is getting things into testing faster. I don't doubt that we're going to see governors like Newsom continue to push, or Cuomo locking down New York. I've already seen photographs of Las Vegas completely desolate, no one in sight. The only person I can say was in the picture is the photographer behind the camera. Casinos are, from what I've heard, donating their food, and the food companies that provide basically their buffet line meals are selling those meals at low cost. I mean, I understand $15 for a meal is a lot, but when you consider that meal feeds 10 or 20, that's dirt cheap. They're basically selling off at cost to get rid of the food so it doesn't go bad. I do not in any way see us being locked down with soldiers on the street saying, stay in your home, don't leave your home, don't open the door. I don't want to go so far as to say we won't see something like, even though I can't remember it, I saw it in the late 1970s with gas rationing. My parents have told me that story where it was either your license plate or your driver's license. If it started or ended with something, it was what day of the week you could go buy gas. My father worked about 20 miles away on average most times because he was a railroad engineer, and he had to make sure he filled up his tank as much as possible every time it was his turn. I don't want to see it, but it may happen. What I want to see is people start using their brains to do what they're meant for, to think logically. You don't need to go out and buy all the toilet paper you can, and all the paper towels, and all the sanitizer, and all the beef, and all the milk, and all the bread. You don't need that. You can freeze bread. So instead of one loaf, buy two, maybe three. That's it. You don't need 42 rolls of toilet paper and 50 frozen pizzas and all that stuff. Yes, I understand. You're going to be home, not going to work, not going out for fast food or whatever. Get a little bit extra, a tiny bit extra, not a lot. Look at what you're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks and how you're going to need to feed yourself and your family. And by that, not just gobs and gobs of stuff. When this is over, the people with hundreds of rolls of toilet paper, like that guy in Tennessee with a garage full of toilet paper and soap and sanitizer, are going to look like the fools they are. If you have, if you come out the end of this, well, I guess I didn't need that fourth loaf of bread. If it's in the freezer, just wait. Thaw it out, use it. You just wanted to buy a loaf of bread as quick at the end of this. This is unnerving and frightening, I understand, but it's not as bad as some of the people are making it out to be. Unfortunately, it is already rather bad. We're seeing countries like Italy, they're now admitting that politically correct is causing the problems they had. You had city mayors and you had the federal government there telling people, don't be racist. One mayor even told people, go hug Chinese people so you're not racist. And now they're in the situation they're in. Chinese is not a race. Chinese is a nationality. You cannot say if something is a Russian or American or Australian or Chinese or South African or Venezuelan virus that it's a race. It's not. It's a nationality. It's a geographic location. The virus originated in the Wuhan province of China. Therefore, this is the Wuhan virus. This is the Chinese coronavirus. We had the first case in mid-January and a travel ban in place on January 31st, just a couple of weeks later. And Italy didn't. And look at the U.S. versus Italy on a per capita basis. Back to the original topic, though, you're going to see stories. The UK does not have the Bill of Rights like we do. Neither does Italy or many other countries. So you're going to see stories about the UK where the British Army may be mobilized. We have the Constitution that says can't do that. The governors can call up the National Guard. The president has to jump through multiple hoops to federalize the National Guard, and that requires war. It's under the War Powers Act, not the Stafford Act, not emergency acts. So Trump cannot say all National Guards keep people off the streets. Now, if Governor Abbott declares a state of emergency, as he has, and then requests federal aid, there are certain things that frees the federal government to do, but mobilizing the military, not one of them. It would require an extensive act by Congress to change multiple laws to allow this to happen. Now, I will say, there are certain things that the military can do. They can be mobilized to move supplies. Honestly, they're one of the best equipped to do it. When you look at the size of a C-130, or even better, a KC-135, when you look at a Chinook, when you look at some of the vehicles they have, they run trains, they run 18-wheelers, and they are some of the best at it. If we need to get emergency supplies from, say, Florida to Oklahoma, yeah, we have a great industry of, trucking or railroad. Santa Fe, Burlington Northern, all of them, they're great at what they do. But that's just moving things one place to the next. You want to find the best way to load and unload those things? Look at the military. For crying out loud, go watch Modern Marvel's Mega Meals on how they feed a submarine. How do they get enough food to feed 100+ people for 4 months at sea, loaded onto that submarine? You're going to see basically an army of ants in motion as humans. They could do that, but the military would literally be, okay, this base here in Kissimmee, Florida, don't know if there's a base there, load everything up. We're going to put everything on these train cars. We're going to load up these refrigerated cars, and then we're going to send it. And we're going to take it all the way to Oklahoma and unload at this base near Tulsa. I realized after I started converting this to upload that I kind of glossed over one simple thing. The Stafford Act is a bill that allows for changes in how the federal government responds to an emergency. The issue is, in this scenario, that the story is being passed that the federal government is going to activate the military to lock the country down. The Constitution blocks this. The federal government, the federal military, cannot act to subjugate its own people. You just can't. Power is given to the state over the Fed in most cases. Look at the 10th Amendment. Any power not specifically given to the Fed remains with the state, with the people. If the country was invaded, okay, as much as I hate the movie, look at Red Dawn. If the country is invaded, the military then is at war with an invading army. So yes, at that point, they could enforce a lockdown in the areas they're fighting the enemy. If you look at Red Dawn, either version, it happens in like basically Seattle, Portland area. They wouldn't be locking down Texas if nothing's happening in Texas. They're not going to lock down New York if nothing's happening in New York. But while they're fighting the invasion force in Portland and Seattle and so on, yeah, they're going to tell the civilians there, stay inside. Or they're going to have trucks. We're going to get you out of here. That's during war. This is not war. So the federal government has its hands tied. So you don't need to worry about them marching into town to force a lockdown. I think I kind of cleared up a few things I may not have. But we'll see. I've talked long enough on this. I'm going to wrap this up. But I want to reiterate that from everything I've looked at, from everything I've read, I do not in any way see a national lockdown. Businesses may choose to not be open. We're already seeing it with concert venues and amusement parks and other places where people gather in large numbers. That's up to the business. We're seeing some states and some cities order this. My city has already said that large gatherings, that being 50 people or more, are banned. And while I don't agree with the government saying you cannot gather in large numbers, I can't stop them. Restaurants are already moving to delivery and pickup where they can survive. Yes, we're going to see an economic hit, but it's going to be temporary. I do not see this, crippling the country. I see it being a bit difficult to get through for a short time, but as always, I see the country bouncing back. There are going to be job openings. There are going to be new industries created out of this. And we'll get through it. We got through pandemics in the past, and we're going to get through this one. Keep your head. Keep the faith. As always, please remember to subscribe, turn on notifications so that you're part of the channel and eligible for the giveaway. And until next time, remember, keep it civil. We're not here to argue and yell. We're here to talk. Until next time, everyone have a wonderful day. Be careful out there.